right, you guys. This your boy back at y'all with another one, man. Like, share, subscribe. Shouts out to the LDBC. You know how to subscribe to this channel. Make sure you hit the subscribe button along with the bell icon. That way you'll be notified whenever I go live. If you are a subscriber, check and make sure YouTube hasn't unsubscribed you. And let's get down to business. As Jim Clyburn was recently down in South Carolina campaigning, and I wanted to give a salute to Kato Amir. He's on Twitter. If you want to follow him on Twitter, let me pull up the screen. So I want to salute Kato Amir for letting me use his content, and I'll go follow this brother on Twitter. And so what we have here is Jim Clyburn being confronted by his constituents down in South Carolina. So take a look at this clip right here, and we're going to give our take on the matter.
Too often the politicians that say they speak for us never want to speak to us. So I think we should thank them for being here. I love this hangout, but it's missing one thing, and I'm going to try not to get emotional, but I want to read it. In 2019, the average, I know you know these statistics, the average wealth of the average white American family is $188,000. For Black American families, it's only $24,000. Now, I'm yellow, okay? 80% of rural lands, Black land ownership, has been lost since 1969. A white high school dropout has more wealth than a Black college graduate. Per the Accountable USA and the Florida Research Action Center, your district, which I've grown up in, is the 6th poorest district in the United States of America. Which is the 6th? South Carolina District 6. Now, there's a quote, and maybe that's not true, but there's a quote that says, I do not, but they backed it up with census data, but there's a quote that says, I do not buy the concept popular in the 1960s, which said, we have suppressed the Black man for 300 years, and the white man is now far ahead in the race for everything our society offers. In order to even the score, you must now give the Black man an head start.
And that brother right there jumped on his ass when it comes to the whole thing regarding whites and blacks. Did you hear what he said? He said that white people who were dropouts have more wealth than a Black college graduate. Now, how in the devils does that make sense? Jim Clyburn represents the South Carolina 6th Congressional District, one of the largest districts in the state of South Carolina. And yet, the median salary is only $35,000. Now, I sent my brother an invite, so I hope he gets the invite. He's willing to come on and tell us what happened during that encounter with Jimmy Crack Corn Clyburn. So I really hope he gets the message. I hope he's willing to come on and expand further on that encounter. But I just don't like the fact that this dude has been in office since 1993 and that he has done absolutely nothing and I do mean absolutely nothing but buck dance, shoe shine, and go sell up the mountain for these white supremacists out here. For all intents and purposes, this majority whip, right? It should be someone should have a majority whoop that ass. But this dude has been in a position of power since '93, and he has done nothing for his constituents. Now I notice all those old dead black Negroes out there weren't going to bat for this brother. There are these old dead black Negroes, they're just sitting there with their legs crossed and Why aren't they pushing helping this brother push for reparations for black people? Why? And he was standing there looking stupid with that goddamn with that suit on. Who still wear 3-button suits anymore, Jim Clyburn? That's how you know this motherfucker's behind the times. Now, too raw. Now, I think you and I have been talking about this Bama for a long time now. So, I don't know if you saw the clip, but if you did, what you got on that clip?
No, I haven't seen the clip yet.
Okay. All right, so for everybody just not getting it, I'm going to play the clip one more time for everybody, right? I want y'all to see this shit right here. Wrote a song about it. Let the hay go. I'll play this clip again because this brother needs more support.
Thank you, Congressman Clyburn, for coming. Too often the politicians that say they speak for us never want to speak to us. So I think we should thank them for being here. Congressman Clyburn, I love this handout, but it's missing one thing, and I'm going to try not to get emotional, but I want to read it. In 2019, the average, I know you know these statistics, the average wealth of the average white American family is $188,000. For black American families, it's only $24,000. Now, I'm Gullah, okay? 80% of rural land, black land ownership, has been lost since 1969. A white high school dropout has more wealth than a black college graduate. Per the Accountable USA and the Food and Research Access Center, your district and district I've grown up in is the 6th poorest district in the United States of America. South Carolina District 6. Now, there's a quote, and maybe that's not true, but there's a quote that says, I do not, but they backed it up with census data, but there's a quote that says, I do not buy the concept popular in the 1960s, which said, we have suppressed the black man for 300 years, and the white man is now far ahead in the race for everything our society offers. In order to even the score, we must now give the black man a head start.
All right, so there's more to that. There's more. Calhoun Tubbs. Yeah, there's more than that. Because we're going to get the full context of this shit. No, where is it at? Here's more. Here, let me get out of this one, and then we're gonna, and then there's some more. I hope that I sent that brother who did that video a link, so I hope he's willing to come on and expand further on his encounter with Stephen from Django. All right, so here's more.
Of freedmen and white Americans. Joe Biden was just a stroke of a pen and start a commission to study reparations and implement them. You are representative. We can't show up everywhere. People say, well, black people need to organize. We've been organizing since the 1500s. These other groups come in like Asian Americans, and within a few months, they get bills for them. It's your job to speak up for us. So you said we know Joe and Joe knows us. I don't care what type of heart Joe has. I care about the policies Joe is going to pass. So why is it, Congressman Clyburn, that you do not support reparations and you do not push Joe Biden to at least bring back the Freeman's Bureau to close all disparities between white Americans and black Americans? We talk about a crisis at the border. What about the crisis in black America? That was the differences. The crisis in black America was an infliction on us externally. So America was built on our back, and we still hold this country up on our backs. It's broken every bone in our bodies, and yet it keeps up with our strength. Okay, well, can you please explain why you haven't pushed them in on executive actions, specific policies for your people, black Americans? That's my question. So I don't get it. Because we haven't seen it. I see you on the news, and you talk about every other issue, AAPI, LGBTQ. I watch it. I follow you just to see the black American issues, and you don't.
Get his motherfucking ass.
Yes, that lacks direct cash payments. It has no specific, that lacks direct cash payments. It lacks specific policies that black Americans.
that dude, that brother took his ass to task for it. Let's see some more from this clip. And look how he looked.
The minimum that a reparations policy for black Americans. I'm trying to answer your question. You gonna let me answer it the way what I saw it? The minimum. It is a book called From Here to Equality that you have a copy of because the Mystic Branch NAACP Central copy that I called your office. The minimum is explained in that book. At least $11 trillion. Direct cash payments, land allotment, tax exemption, free education. The Freeman's Bureau returning to close all disparity. That's the minimum. This country can't bring back all the people they take it from us, but they can at least make a big down payment, like the $65 billion, give us about $65 trillion.
Get him.
10, 20, 30 is the down payment.
Yes.
The American Rescue Act is the down payment.
Specific for us.
Those are universal.
Did he literally, did you hear him talk about the American Rescue Plan is a down payment for us?
Oh, I can't hear him very well. I can hear him. I can hear the young man, but I can't hear Clyburn too well. He said that that's a down payment for us.
Yes, the dude just said out his mouth that the American Rescue Plan was a down payment for us.
Bullshit. Wasn't specific for us.
Boy.
Those are universal policies. We're talking about specifics for Black Americans.
What's universal policy for us? Like the evil got something for that. Like what?
Oh man, they ain't no more. Oh man. I'm gonna have to play that again.
Did I hear that correctly? Because I couldn't hear everything he said, but did he say that some people estimate that we're owed $65 trillion in lost income?
Yep.
My God. Man. Yeah. Yeah. That's a mind-numbing figure right there.
All right,
But it doesn't.
here's another clip. When we about to jump on his ass today. You know what I'm saying? We getting on his ass. Cause you know I've been all over Stephen from Django. That motherfucker is not getting off the hook. He's not getting off the hook, bro. Now let's see some more from As the Coon Turns. Let's listen to this clip right here. I can't pull it up now because let's listen to this clip.
Real quick. Spoken by base videos. That's a great thing. When statistics shows that 20% of Black Americans are college educated. Meanwhile, the 20% of us have a whole bunch of debt, right? The other 80% of Black Americans mostly work in the service economy. So that's good for the HBCUs, but the rest of Black America is pretty much being starved out. That's all I wanted to say. And on top of that, with HR 40, we were on something called Fix HR 40, where we put pressure on all of our congressional leaders to get HR 40 to the floor. We sat there for about 10 hours and watched that whole judiciary process. We saw it play out. Nancy Pelosi can bring that to the floor anytime she wants. We have been monitoring HR 40 since it's been stalled out for the most part. What we're trying to say, sir, is that because of public pressure, so for history, right? HR 40, right, was introduced by John Conyers in 1987. It sat dormant for over 30 years, right? So, yes, it did, sir. Yes, it did. Every year. He introduced it every year, but it never got passed. We're talking about something almost my whole adult life. This thing never passed at all. Now there is public sentiment. There's energy behind it, right? The CBC just they did a Twitter poll. They asked us, what do you prefer? Do you prefer? Hold on a second. I'm almost done. Sir, it's all due respect. There's no emotion in this. We're just concerned. We're just highly concerned because by 2050, Black American wealth is going to be at zero. Meanwhile, other groups' wealth are going upward while our wealth is deteriorating. So we're just highly concerned. That's it. We just want a better quality of life for ourselves and our children. I have 2 children myself. The tax credit is great. It's great. But after the tax child credit, it's like that's just paying the bills and that's it. It's still not helping us out of the predicament that we're in. We're just concerned. That's it. Thank you so much.
He didn't even answer the fucking question, bro.
No, he didn't. Because he can't answer it. Because there's nothing to say that could defend it. They're never going to pass it because the Democratic Party, his bosses, they're too afraid of offending white folks. And they're not going to ever pass anything that's going to just benefit us. You know, they're just not. They're pretty much instructed that they're never going to do anything specifically for us to upset the Democratic apple cart. They'll never do that. They'll always, anything they ever do for us is going to be piecemealed with other groups. So they don't want to upset the other more powerful and in their eyes, more important demographics of their base, which is why I don't understand why Black people vote such a monolith for this putrid, coon-riddled party.
Just disgusting. He gonna stand up there with that damn microphone in his hand like it's a fucking dick, and just gonna stand there and look stupid and don't even answer the people's questions.
Nope.
And then he's gonna cut them off, make sense about, okay, are you done? Are you done? I mean, how disrespectful can you be, you old bastard? Oh, coon ass bastard.
Yeah, man. Just, but he want to answer if there was a group of concerned Jewish voters, he wouldn't have said that. If it was a group of white women, he wouldn't have said, "Are you done?" He'd have been like, "Yes, ma'am," and yes, ma'am, and all day. Disrespectful ass coons.
Nigga sit there and don't even have enough class to answer people's questions and all that. Man, that shit make me sick, bro. Meanwhile, he can sit up on BSNBC. Oh, sloganism!
All right,
Oh,
yeah.
we need to stop these sloganisms. They're killing us. This coon time has ran out. Go ahead, Ralph.
No, it's just that when they because I did a little bit of research about that district in 1992 or 91, whenever they did it, when they gerrymandered that district. It's the only district, I think. Isn't that the only district in South Carolina that's majority black?
Yep.
Right. And when they did that, the incumbent congressperson didn't think he could get reelected. So he resigned. And then that's when Clyburn ran. And as you can see, the track record speaks for itself. He hasn't done shit for his constituents. But the only thing he has going for him is that he's black. He's black and he can talk. I'm sorry, I'm just being honest. He can talk enough uninformed voters into voting for him every 2 years. And it's worked. People have got to look at these candidates and not just get into the habit of voting for an incumbent because you think he's doing something for you. You gotta really look to see what the fuck these guys are doing. And he's doing nothing.
We really got to be more educated in what the candidates are. Not only that, right? We need to really start confronting these people who just prop these individuals up in front of us. You mean to tell me if I got two piece of shit candidates, so what do I choose? The runny diarrhea shit or the solid piece of shit?
Yep, that's true too. You know, I wonder what would happen if, in the event election is held and nobody came out and voted.
But they have a runoff.
Yeah, you know, it's just crazy though, man. But yeah, we need to have some more. We need to actually have credible candidates, man. That will attend to our needs. And this is where it might sound hypocritical, but this is my stance on voting. When it comes to the presidential level, fuck that. Okay, screw those candidates. But where we have more influence at on the local level, I do think we should vote on the lower level because that's the grounds to eventually for us to have candidates who will eventually adhere to our needs. If we actually came out and voted on the ground level and actually supported candidates that will address our needs, if we were more active politically from the grassroots level and actually got involved and not let all these special interests and all this nepotism and all this money get involved and fuck them people, then we would have a better system. But it would be I don't know, man. It's so much against us, man. You know, the money aspect of it. A lot of us are not educated who we vote for. We're not politically involved. We don't really go to, we don't go to City Hall anymore and give our grievances. We don't vet these candidates. We don't get involved in the process. And this is what happens. We're powerless collectively. And we're losing more power like it's like every election cycle. It's becoming more and more embarrassing, man. You know, to the point, LB, when it really almost made me cry a couple days after the election when I seen black women twerking because a white supremacist got elected president. You traded one white supremacist for another one.
Yeah, that boiled my broccoli too, bro.
Yeah. I'm like, man, my God, man, this is ridiculous, But
it really do. I think it's more. I think it's more for camel toe, more than Joe Biden, right?
Oh, don't get me wrong. Yeah, her too.
Because what these people were saying. Yeah, because what these people were saying, right? They were talking about Kamala Harris like she won the presidency and shit.
Yeah. Good point. It was more for her. And this is a woman she got elected. She got selected because of her gender and her race. And that's it. That's it. Not because of qualification. Don't get me wrong. I want people of color in position. I want them to be qualified and for us on our side. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now. I don't want no person of color. I want a black person that speaks for us.
Right.
Not that person of color shit. What's wrong with you two, bro?
Yeah. You're right. What I'm talking about. Hey, get out of smack of that. Get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here.
Black person. Yeah. But I just it's just sickening, man. It's just sickening.
And one thing I do like in that video that we saw, and shout out to Kato Amir. If you want to follow him on Twitter, that's his Twitter handle, Kato Amir, son of the son of the Gullah, right? He's from South Carolina, you know what I'm saying? So, you want to follow him on Twitter, that's his Twitter handle, Kato Amir, son of the Gullah, right? That's whose video that was. I got his permission to play that clip. Jim Clyburn being confronted, and this is pull up summer. You know what I'm saying? These young folks that's in their early 20s now, they're not tolerating this bullshit, yo.
No.
And they calling these bastards out.
Yeah, and I'm starting to think that the Democrats are going to start losing their grip on not totally, but a little bit on black voters, especially younger black voters. And as a lot of older voters start, leaving the scene, these conservative, church going, old happy day, glory comes voters. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Pew tapping, pew sitting, old dead Negroes and shit. Most of them in the background got their leg crossed, looking lost and dumbfounded.
Yeah. Oh, we got to support old Joe. He Obama's right-hand man, and Kamala's going to be full up. Yeah, okay, keep thinking that. Yeah. But yeah, when as they pass the scene, hopefully a lot of the younger people, man, they're more politically in tune, something we haven't seen since the 60s, really.
Right.
But, a lot of those people have become set in their ways and not as politically astute as today, but hopefully, we'll see some type of progress, man. Because
yeah, I want to expand further on what you talked about as far as like voting locally, right?
Mm-hmm.
One thing. When we mention voting locally, right? And I ain't talking about that shit about get your booty to the polls. Fuck that, right? When we talking about voting locally, right? What do we mean? We talk about voting for the district attorney, the police chief, the
sheriff,
the sheriffs, the mayor, city council, right? Because just you got a mayor, but that just like you have the president, basically is at the mercy of the Senate and what laws get passed. Your mayor is basically at the mercy of the city council.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
So you got city council members, right? You got to vote for people that's going to have a direct influence on your quality of life in your city.
And judges, I think you already said judges, right?
I think I don't think I mentioned judges, but yes, you
judges.
definitely
When you can vote for
judges,
that's definite judges, because Trump, was appointing, judges that would suit him. These conservative, supposed constitutional judges that strictly adhere to the Constitution, which a lot of times go against us. But they call the judges that we like activist judges, even though they're activist judges too. But
they're actively putting the role, fuck the black people.
Right.
White supremacists and coons alike.
Right. Yeah. So that's what I was talking about. Like, and what LB talking about, like, the more important part of voting. Like, I'm not against the voting process. I just think that the people who, the elections that they talk about, not really all that fucking important. Like, to me, there's really not a difference between Joe Biden and Trump being in office for me in my everyday life. No. Yeah, Trump would say things that irritate you, and yeah, Trump can kind of say things to indirectly rile up. But look at this, LB. Trump's not even in office, and we're having a record amount of mass shootings. So it don't matter who's in the White House. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that shit don't affect our lives, but the local level, yeah, I do think we should vote in that one. And that's the crazy thing. We worry about the presidential elections, but we don't worry about the local elections.
And the local election it should be the most important thing for you as a citizen in your local area. You gotta vote for the judges. You gotta vote for the mayor. You gotta vote for these people. These individuals gonna have a direct impact on your life. So yes, when we say get out and vote, yeah, we go out and get out and vote for that. President, I don't give a fuck about that. That has no impact on my life. None.
No. District attorney?
Yeah, district attorney, the judges, people in the city council, the mayor, the police chief, sheriffs.
Yep.
All those individuals. Yeah,
a lot of stuff. Even some amendments, local amendments, as far as or referendum, like whether to bring something to your town that's going to eat up your tax dollars. It's not going to be beneficial to you. Do your research about the situation, and then get informed on it, and go from there. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, I'm just gonna bring this up. In my city, right, they're talking about bringing a casino. I don't think it's a good idea, because they're talking about, like, it'll bring tax revenue, but I think it's just gonna further drain the pockets of black citizens, because they're gonna put it in an area that's right in a predominantly black area. Okay, they're gonna wall it off from the other area. Like, they're gonna put like a wall around the casino, so it's like it's isolated from everywhere else. Virginia already has casinos in select areas, so people out of town aren't really going to go to that casino. What they're going to do is, you can have a lot of middle class and poor black people who they can go to the casino and hit it big, which really doesn't happen often. It's going to drain the community further of money, of citizens of money. That's what I look at it as. So I'm against it, but people don't go out and vote for it. The people that's going to be for it, they're going to vote for it. It's probably going to pass. It's going to be another drain, but whatever.
Yep. I'm right there with you too, Raw. Especially when it comes to rezoning areas and referendum about bringing in this company, or they don't need a referendum for that. They'll just bring them in and kick everybody the fuck out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they don't need a referendum for that. You pay somebody enough money, they're more liable to do your bidding.
Right.
So yeah, that's why I said you got I'm not a, and be educated on these referendums and be educated on these candidates too. Don't let these white supremacists just prop up some candidate in front of you and you're supposed to just take what they say as gospel. No. Be educated on these candidates. When these candidates come stomp around your town asking you to vote for them, your first question should be, why should we vote for you? What makes you more qualified than this person?
Because 99.99% out of 100, if a white supremacist touting this candidate is good for them and bad for you.
Right. And they don't mind trotting somebody up out of there. Look what they're doing in New York. They got that ex-cop. They propped up that black ex-cop. That black ex-cop got all kinds of endorsements from Obama and fucking and other people in the white media. So you definitely got to be educated on who you voting for, and don't let nobody just tell you all kinds of bullshit. Don't just let, like, LBZ talk about this all the time. Me and him talk about this whenever we're on the live stream. Don't just let somebody pump your head up with bullshit. Do your research on these guys and call their butt to the carpet when they come stop around your town asking you to, hey, you vote for me. I promise I'm gonna do this, that, and the third. What's up, TJ, my brother from TJ from Columbia. He'll tell you about old Jimmy Crackcorn Clyburn. Hey, click the link, TJ. You come in and tell us about that motherfucker. TJ live in his district. I don't like this coon. And this coon been running amok since 1993.
Yep. I never liked them, man. I remember when I was in high school.
You gotta think, in 93, I didn't know what's going to look like, huh?
Now, I remember I used to see him on TV in high school. I didn't like his ass. He was like an asshole.
Yeah. Slogan is just killing people. No, motherfucker, these white supremacists with guns out here killing people. Yeah, the New York mayor's race, JMJ, that's what I was talking about.
Okay. I know you're talking about now. I don't know why that blew past me. I mean, why that went past. You talking about Eric Adams?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny how he was a former Republican. He's a former Republican.
Oh, see, a lot of people didn't even know that,
Yeah, he's a former Republican. And yeah, I know Andrew Yang was seen as the front runner.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because New Yorkers vote local issues. And there's been a rise in crime the last couple of years. Well, really since the pandemic hit. And he's been pivoting to the right because he knows, you know what I'm saying? Look. He knows that in order to get the nomination, he kind of had to pivot to the right a little bit and talk about being tough on crime and all this and yada, 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 you know what I'm saying, to get the nomination. And, more than likely he's going to be elected because New York, not necessarily a certainty slam dunk, but it's more registered Democrats than Republicans in New York. More than likely, that's the next mayor. And by him pivoting to the right like that and being tough on crime, he's taking an issue away from the Republicans, where they like to say that Democrats are soft on crime. So that's why he pivoted. And plus, he's a former Republican. So I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the election. But that's why a lot of these Democrats are trying to shift to the right a little bit, because they kind of get a sense that the Democratic Party might take a little hit in elections after 2020. But that's just my opinion. But yeah, he's a former Republican.
That's yeah. And that dude, they propping him up like he's the second coming to Obama and all that. You know what I'm saying?
Second coming to Obama. That dude was a fucking Republican.
Well, that's what the media do. You see how they rehabilitate Kamala. You see how the mainstream media was trying to rehabilitate and rehab Kamala.
Yep.
And then when she got selected vice president, when she got selected as Joe Biden's running mate, they put on a whole repackaging plan for this woman. Like she was this brand new candidate. You know what I'm saying? You know, the only other time I see repackaging program like that is in WWE. For real, WWE. You know, 1 year you got the Rotunda kid who's always who plays Bray Wyatt, right? First he was Husky Harris. Then he comes back as Bray Wyatt. Then he comes back as the Fiend Bray Wyatt. No telling me he will come back now. And then they did it the way he was. They had 3 levels of him. They had they had the Bray Wyatt, the regular Bray Wyatt. Then they had the Bray Wyatt that plays like Mr. Rogers, and then they had the Fiend Bray Wyatt, where he's just like this supernatural being who is impervious to pain, like he the Undertaker and shit, right? Or for a lot of you guys that are older, like take Mick Foley, for crying out loud, right? Mick Foley, first he was Cactus Jack, right?
Right.
Then he was Mankind. Then he was Dude Love. And then at one point during the Royal Rumble, they had him come out as all 3 different characters at the same. So that's when you see a repackaging of a candidate that we thoroughly and utterly rejected. That's what they did with Kamala Harris, and you're seeing this now with Eric Adams. The mainstream media, what do we talk about all the time too, Rob, when it comes to the mainstream media, whenever they prop up a candidate? They pick and choose what they want to show you.
Oh, yeah. You know, they show you what they've already agreed to put out there to dissemble to the public. You know, and all of the negatives, those things don't get leaked out. Those things don't get talked about by most mainstream outlets. And even the ones that are against certain candidates, they only report what they want to report, like as far as negative stuff. Even some of the bad stuff about Harris, they won't report on.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Or they do, they touch it with kid gloves.
Right.
Hey, just to put a button on this, but all right, so if you hear that pasty faced bastard Lester Holt talk about put a button on this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all need to understand, these politicians don't get asked questions in the real time. These questions are already been prepared. These questions have already been pre-approved. They've ran through these questions multiple times. So you would think that Kamala Harris would hit a home run when she get asked these softball type questions, and she still fumbled the ball.
That's what made Sarah Palin's interview so mind-numbing when she was talking to Katie Couric, because she already knew these questions. But she's such a lazy person. Either she didn't really read it in advance, or she's just an idiot, a complete imbecile. But That's why I'm not understanding these. Like you said, these questions are pre-packaged and pre-approved. They go over these things. That's why they seem so informed, these politicians, because they already go over these things in the debates. They're supposed to go over these things, and that's why they seem like they've mastered everything, because they pretty much know what's going to be asked. So for her to fail so miserably shows her gross incompetence.
Right.
Yeah. LB, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What you about to say?
No, I was going to say, shit, we are much better at speaking off the fly than she is.
Yeah,
she's a politician.
Real. That's the honest to God truth, bro.
Right.
Now you see when you get going back to Jimmy Crack Corn Clyburn, right? Now Jimmy Crack Corn Clyburn was set up on BS NBC every day, right? Now we just saw what would happen when you get confronted by your constituents and they ask you this shit in real time, where there's no teleprompter, there's nobody to coach you on the shit that they're gonna ask you and all that. You have nothing but that microphone in your hand and you stand in front of all those people, right? Now we saw what happened when Jimmy Crack Corn Clyburn was confronted by his constituents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm gonna play an interview where he knew this is now. You can see Jimmy Crack Corn Clyburn at work in a different light when shit is prepared for him, like Brian Wayhorse gets prepared a fucking 3-person dinner at motherfucking Famous Days. Now, we're gonna break this shit down, and I'm gonna go back to that interview with Kamala Harris too, man. That had to be the funniest interview I ever seen in my life, dog. For real. Now, let's look at this goddamn interview.
Thanks so much for coming back on the show tonight. It's been 6 months since the insurrection on Capitol Hill. You tried to impeach.
Now, mind you, too raw, for everybody that's watching this video, everybody that's going to watch this video, right? Typically, if you see this coon-ass motherfucker on TV, right, chances are he's going to be on NBC, whether it be regular NBC or BS NBC or CNBC or Peacock, right? Because NBC is for all intents and purposes, Democratic.
Right.
Now, can you elaborate? But the Republicans too raw.
As far as where you're generally going to see them,
right?
Probably like Fox Sports. I was not Fox Sports. Jesus, I'm talking about Sports, Fox News. Also, what's that other network?
OAN? Newsmax? You there too, Raw?
Can you hear me?
You there too? Yeah, I can hear you now. You there?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
yeah.
OAN and Newsmax.
Right. Newsmax and Fox News.
Yeah. So that's typically where you find Republicans like Matt Gaetz and Ted Cruz and that ventriloquist dummy with the burnt up jack off hand, right? All right, so hey, this is interviewing 101. Now we all saw what happened. If you've not seen the interview, if you've not seen Jim Clyburn being confronted by Cato Amir, because that's his video, right? Shout out to that brother once again. He was asked those questions in real time, and he had nothing to say. Now let's look at him when he was in a more comfortable setting.
And convict Donald Trump. You tried to get a bipartisan commission with the people who wouldn't impeach him or convict him. Now your party has this select committee that's not yet up and running. When do you think we'll actually see some results from that committee, see some investigating done?
Well, thank you very much for having me. I think it's all going to depend on the minority leader.
He's now saying that he's going to appoint 5 members to serve. And when they get together, I'm assuming the 13 will sit down and develop some timetables. I'm not thinking they're going to rush into this. This is something that we need to take our time. It's already occurred. As we said, we know exactly when it happened. We know a whole lot about where it did happen. We just don't know why and who made it happen. They should take their time to find that out.
Now, too raw.
Mhm.
Now, watching that, did he answer the question, or did he just cook up a whole bunch of word salad?
What they normally do: dance around, pivot, jab here, backpedal, obfuscate. Yeah, word salad.
So, in other words, Jim Clyburn did not answer the question because he did not give any specifics.
No. Typical politician.
Typical politician with that misaligned mustache she got on. Anna's great. Shave that shit. And tell your daughter to shave her fucking legs too. But anyway,
Oh, God.
but then again, no, Bigfoot can keep her legs because Mignon Clyburn ain't the best looking thing that walking God's green earth. But anyway, no more jabs. Let's really get down to business here, right? Talk about this coon ass motherfucker right here, right?
Talk yourself right there.
Yeah. Right? Now, this is how politicians answer questions. They don't answer questions. We need to get together. We know what happened. We know when it happened. We just don't know why it happened. Okay, so at what point y'all can get y'all fucking heads together and get this shit together and get an investigation put in place? Y'all had 6 months. Now, let's continue on with this diarrhea of the mouth.
It's a fair point. I guess the counter argument would be 6 months is a long time from an insurrection to have done no investigating, especially when the Republicans are trying to rewrite history, as you know, and they're still pushing this big lie about the election. It's been 2 weeks, in fact, since Senate Republicans used their filibuster to block Democrats from passing S1, the For the People Act, which has already passed in the House. I want to play you something the Vice President said today. Have a listen.
These laws make it harder for you to vote because they don't want you to vote. Don't let anybody ever take your power from you. Don't let anybody take your power from you, especially the power of your voice. We will not let anyone take away our power, and that's why we are all here together today.
One thing I don't like about this condescending woman is the fact that she out here speaks. When she speaks, she just goes out there and just speaks the obvious and all that.
Yeah.
It's like, woman, you don't think we know that? Look, the Republicans all day long can put out voter suppression laws and all the other type of shit. But if y'all not appealing our interests, we're not coming anyway. What part of that don't you understand? Let's listen to more of this shit, man.
We're not going to let that happen.
When the Vice President says we're not going to let that happen, the problem is it's already happened. The filibuster was already deployed. I know you congressmen support getting rid of the filibuster.
And who was the main person that was talking about keeping the filibuster in place?
For Republicans?
No, for Democrats.
Clyburn, right?
No, Joe Manchin.
Okay.
Joe Manchin,
The Democrat name only.
In place, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it has something to do with oh man, I forgot what it was. I forgot what the issue was. He didn't want to get rid of the filibuster for. But the Republicans were able to come back and use for all intents and purposes their tactics against them. You heard the reporters say that they used the filibuster to block a specific bill.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe Manchin, oh man, we gotta protect democracy. What democracy you trying to protect, motherfucker?
Well, I mean, you know, with Joe, man, he's concerned about staying in office. You know, he West Virginia got to be like what, number 1 or number 2 as far as the most Republican state in the union. It's right. You know, he has to. He's basically a Republican, just masquerading as a Democrat right now.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like a detriment to the Democratic Party right now.
Right. So let's get back to man. He looked like he half asleep. You know, hey, you got your bourbon back?
In this context, and I'm glad you do, but Senate Democrats haven't gotten rid of it, and until today the White House hasn't said or done much on S1. Is there a plan B to save our democracy? I mean, either there's an existential threat that needs dealing with right now, or there isn't. Am I wrong?
Well, remember on 2 things. First of all, I know it's been 6 months since January 6th, but it was almost 18 months before the Congress responded legislatively to 9/11. So I don't think that we need to worry about 6 months thing. Let's make sure we get it done so it won't happen again. Now, as for voting, I do feel very strongly that we have got to have a legislative response, and it needs to be done by the middle or the end of September. And I think it can be done. We know that we're not going to have congressional elections until next year. We know that the new numbers will come out from the Census Bureau in September. And I think we ought to have in play a bill coming out of the Senate that will do 2 things. Number 1, incorporate that which is found in H.R. 1, at least those things that they can agree upon, and what is in H.R. 4, the pre-clearance part of H.R. 4. They'll just combine those 2 bills, take them to the floor in the Senate, pass it, and then let's do what is necessary to have fair and unfettered elections.
All right, so this is the problem with that, right? This is the problem with that. You need 60 votes to pass a bill in the Senate, right? Mm-hmm. You think the Democrats got 60 votes to pass that bill?
Nope.
You think any Republican going to say yeah to that bill?
Probably not. I was thinking, mate. Not them either.
No. And if they are, it sure so will be well short the 60 votes required to pass a bill in Congress, right?
Right. Matter of fact, I don't think they're going to be able to get 55.
No.
Yeah.
No. Now, for those of you who don't know what S1 is, right? The S1 bill that Jimmy Clyburn was referring to is the For the People Act, right? So this bill addressed voter access, election integrity, security, campaign finance, and ethics for the branches of government, right? We all know that in the United States, we got 3 branches of government: the legislative, executive, and judicial branch, right? Separate but equal powers, right? Now, the bill expands voter registration and voting access, and also limits removing voters from the voter polls. It also requires states to establish independent redistricting commissions to carry out congressional redistricting. Right. So, in other words, you can't have a party gerrymander districts just so they can win their respective elections.
Right. And you start seeing a lot of that, I think, starting in the 1980s.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's a teaching sessions. All these dudes out here that want to sit up here and scream to the heavens about LeBron James, they need to bring their asses in here and learn something. Because LeBron James, look, he's a great basketball player. Take nothing away from him. But LeBron James ain't gonna help you out your situation.
Nope.
You being educated will.
And I think you can do that in three. Yes.
No, please tell us your 2 ways, and then I'll come back in.
The 2 ways you can do that by carving out a workaround of the filibuster as you've done for the budget. We can do the civil rights and constitutional rights questions. They should not be subjected to a filibuster. Just like we don't do for the budget. We don't let any one person jeopardize the full faith and credit of the United States of America, and we will not let anyone hold anybody's constitutional right in their hand. And the second way you can do that, quite frankly, is that making it a reconciliation issue, just like you've done for the budget, and just say, if you're going to get 10 people, let's put it on the floor.
But Congressman, isn't the problem that what you're saying I 100% agree with, there are workarounds, but the president hasn't come out and said this, Chuck Schumer hasn't come out and said this, Joe Manchin hasn't said he's on board with this, so the problem is we're still stuck with the status quo.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. When you got people that's in position of power that refuse to come out and say anything, the status quo will remain. So now, what's your sentiments on that too, Raw?
Yeah. I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I mean, as long as there's this stalemate, no matter what bullshit he's spewing, the problem's still going to stay at hand, and nothing's going to get done. So if you sit there and say all these nice things about what they're intending to do or what they wish to do, which he's not saying that, but like you said, the people who should be speaking out aren't saying anything about it. And like you said, Joe Manchin is still filibustering this whole situation, and they don't have the necessary votes to even have this situation come to pass. So once again, it's stalemate in Washington. And if you wonder why Congress has such a low overall approval rating from the American public.
Mm-hmm. And then the Congressional Black Caucus, right? What have they done for black people outside of getting fat at different luncheons?
Nothing. Because didn't the Congressional Black Caucus support a lot of these bills that ultimately were detrimental to black people?
Yep.
Because the Congressional Black Caucus had to support the crime bill for it to pass. They had to support all these other measures that ultimately hurt their constituency. So fuck them.
They make me sick, man. And I seen that YouTube has shadow banned me.
Well, why you say that?
Because I pulled up YouTube and my channel, the first thing that showed up is my channel, and my channel has not been shown, so they have shadow banned me.
Oh, they started, huh? Yeah.
They're on that bullshit.
Be careful, man.
They can't stop me. I'm gangster as fuck. They can't fucking stop me for what?
Yeah, these motherfuckers, I don't know, boy. It's just when you talk truth, man, they don't want that shit. When you know.
Nope, they don't. They don't want nobody telling that truth, but that's okay though, because the truth still gonna be told. I don't care what they do. I don't care what they say. Right? Now, as far as this bill for HR, let's talk about HR 40, right? going back to Jim Clyburn and reparations, right? Now I'm gonna show y'all HR 40 bill, and now because that brother talked about we're gonna all right. So let's end this. Right, I've heard enough from this Jimmy Crack Coy motherfucker. Right. Now you see who the sponsor of this bill, right? Sheila Jackson Lee, a Democrat out of Texas. The bill was adopted, introduced to the floor on January 4th of this year. She's part of the House Judiciary Committee.
Now, they're all about her.
Yeah, because she thinks she's doing something just because she put a bill out on the floor.
Right.
Big deal. Now, commission to study and develop reparation proposal for African Americans Act. This bill establishes the commission to study and develop reparation proposal for African Americans. First of all, why do we need to study reparations? What are y'all studying?
They've been studying something for 30 years and they still need more study.
Right. Oh, we missed some details. We got to bring this back. We got to bring this back and we got to tear this up. We got to start all over again. We missed some important details here, right? The commission shall examine slavery and discrimination in the colonies of the United States from 1619 to the present and recommend appropriate remedies. So what are those remedies? What are these appropriate remedies? See, this is this fucking word salad I'm talking about, yo. These vague, generalized statements with no context behind it, no meat on the bone whatsoever.
Remedies. What, like we got a cold or some shit? Third
yeah, like we want some Vicks Formula 44? or hey, we need some Benadryl? What the fuck is remedies? Hey, we're gonna take some leaves out the ground, put it in some pesto mortar, whatnot, grind it up and all that, and make a pill out of it. What the fuck are these remedies?
Robitussin.
Let that tussin get to the bone, boy.
Yeah, you gotta let that tussin set in. That tussin heal the bone. Yeah, it'll make your soul feel better from slavery too. You gotta get that tussin in there.
Yeah. Hey, get that cotton up. You pick that cotton up there, boy. You pick that cotton up there, you little nigger.
Oh, nigga.
Yeah. No, that's what they be saying and shit. Look, this commission. So who is in this commission? All right. So we about to answer some of these questions here. Now, of course, a lot of these things are vague, so we're not going to be able to answer all these questions. But these commissions, the commission shall identify the role of the state and federal governments in supporting the institution of slavery. But you see the Republicans basically trying to eliminate the teaching of slavery in schools. Forms of discrimination in the public and private sectors against freed slaves and their descendants, and lingering negative effects of slavery on living African American society, because it's not like these people here hadn't benefited off the slavery that's been going on for hundreds of years. And then they got nerve to say, well, I know I've been born during that time and I had nothing to do with that slavery, so I shouldn't have to pay reparations. Or you get immigrants like goddamn not John, well, Jonathan K. part of him too, right? Because he want, because Bussy Boy, that black Bussy Boy, all he don't want reparations, all he wants an apology. But motherfucker, you can't get reparations. Or you get that other guy, I can't remember that other guy's name, but that's the dude that was sliding down the pole in the tighty whitey either last year or a couple years ago. What the fuck is that dude's name? That dude was on he was on that show with Mark Lamont, you big dummy hill. What that motherfucking name? Oh shit. What is that dude's name? Oh man. Hold on. What's that dude's name? Coleman Hughes. That's his name. Coleman Hughes. Now, Coleman Hughes was on that reparations committee, right? So we just handpick a whole bunch of illegal immigrants and black bootlicks alike, and they set up that reparations hearing 2 years ago and talk about how they was against reparations. You had Herschel Walker, old coon ass, right, and his bossy boy son. Yeah, because the shit don't fall far from the asshole, but nevertheless, that motherfucker, you know, clean shaven and all, with this butter biscuit eating ass, sitting up there telling you that black people don't deserve reparations.
Yeah. It's unbelievable, man. Everybody else in this country can get reparations, and it's never questioned. It's never debated. 1.6 billion was paid out in 1988 to either Japanese Americans or the descendants or families of Japanese Americans who were interred in concentration camps during World War II on the West Coast in California. I think America, which had nothing to do with the Holocaust, had paid out money toward Holocaust victims. We had nothing to do with that. Not to mention the fact that after the Holocaust, the UN, America, all of the power nations helped to give Jewish people their own actual country, Israel. And for a 12-year span, I think from 1954 to 1966, Israel got from Germany, I think the equivalency of, I just did research on this. I think what today's dollars would be $700 billion.
Yeah.
Or was it over $1 trillion? I know it was a lot of fucking money, man. I think it was trillions. And their GNP skyrocketed. They were just giving money. But with us, when we just mention reparations, well, I don't feel like I should have to do this, and I don't feel like I should have to, man, whatever, man. Those figures are very telling. The average income for a black family is $24,000 versus $180,000 for a white family. That's average. Average. The average white family is upper middle class, lower upper class. The average black family is on the poverty line. There's something wrong.
Yep. Shit crazy, man. Shout out to Stephanie Dews. Shout out to Craig J in the building. Herman, I see you, homie. Yeah, man. So let's talk about this HR 40 bill, right? Because it talks about the study of reparations. It ain't talking about cutting the check. But then again, when it came to Asians and all that, you didn't need no fucking study. You just cut the check.
Yep.
Now, a bill to address the fundamental injustice, cruelty, brutality, and inhumanity of slavery in the United States and 13 American colonies between 1619 and 1865. And hold on. 1865? That shit still goes on now. So why you just got this 1865? The first mistake in this bill, okay, and establish a commission. So we need a commission to study and consider a national apology. A national apology? You can show your apology and cut the fucking check.
Yeah, the House of Representatives have never even formally apologized for slavery. They never even apologized for it.
Yeah.
But they apologized for Japanese internment. They apologized for other people, but never us.
Yeah. So get this. A national apology and a proposal for reparations for the institution of slavery is subsequent de jure and de facto racial and economic discrimination against African Americans and the impact of these forces on living African Americans to make recommendations to Congress on appropriate remedies and for other purposes. So what remedy? What remedy? Look, the only surefire remedy that's going to work, you give us our fucking money and you let us decide what we do with it.
And like you're saying, why the cutoff for 1865? Because what about the 100 years of Jim Crow?
Yeah, what about Jim Crow? Because I'm pretty sure there was some lynchings and some anti-black racism was going on during that time. Hell, we got anti-black racism going on now.
Right.
To this day. But you want to put the car for 1865. See, you people in Congress think y'all slick. Y'all think y'all slick. 1865? You think I was born in 1865? No, I was not. That's a spoiler alert. For all I know, I was probably some lion chasing gazelle in fucking Africa because I got hungry.
1865. I was
1865? Hell, for all I know, I could have been Abraham Lincoln getting my head blown off when I was president.
Hey, but you want to know something weird though?
What?
I know they're gonna trip off this shit. That was only 30 years before my grandfather was born.
What? So you got people's great grandmama, great grandmama, great grandmama, great grandmama, great grandmama. Can't even get reparations. You know what I'm saying? By the way, this bill is written. That's why I always tell people, take the time to read these bills. I know it's a bunch of word salad, but if you cut through the bullshit and get to the main points, you can see that this HR 40 bill ain't worth the toilet paper to wipe their ass with.
It's bullshit. Yeah. 1865. Wow.
1865. What was like 200 some odd years ago?
Damn near. 160. Yeah, almost 160 years ago.
Yeah, 106 some odd years ago. So why the call for 1865, Sheila Jackson Lee? You wrote this bullshit ass fucking bill, and you're an immigrant. So why we got immigrants speaking for black people? Why we ain't got some real black people speaking for black people? We got here. Now I'm not talking about you fucking coons and buck dancers, right? Like the aforementioned distinguished. Oh, hold on. How you Hey, Turo, how you say the distinguished honorable Jim Clyburn?
The distinguished honorable representative from South Carolina, Jimmy Crackhorn James Clyburn.
The distinguished honorable.
Oh, that version. The distinguished honorable gentleman from South Carolina. His Royal Coolness, Gentleman James Clyburn. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Did we see Ben Carson say welfare has done more damage to our community than slavery did? Get the fuck out of here, Ben Carson. See, don't worry, Craig J. I'm gonna jump on his coon ass in a minute. Don't worry, we about to get on, the other distinguished honorable coon himself, Dr. Benjamin Bartholomew.
What bothers me about coons like that, man, is they act like we're the only people that use welfare.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. But look, that's proof that we're economically disparate. You know what I'm saying? Because look, think about this: if the average black income, the black household is 24,000, and the average white one is 180,000, that's a almost 10-to-1 ratio, at least 9-to-1 ratio, right? Mm-hmm. Well, then why is it that 61% of welfare recipients are white? Doesn't make any sense, does it?
Nope.
Does that make any sense to anybody listening? It should be very few. So something is wrong. Maybe the welfare cheats are them, not us. But anyway, that's too white to be right. God, I hate when Combs do that shit.
Now, let's continue on with this.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm right there with you too, Raw. Let's continue on with this bullshit right here, right? So, findings. So, who found all this? Did you do the work, Sheila Jackson Lee? You found that approximately 4 million Africans and their descendants were enslaved in the United States and colonies that became the United States from 1619 to 1865. But okay, so if that's the case, then why are we teaching in schools that the United States was founded in 1776?
Yeah, because before that, we were the colonies, right?
No.
The 13 original colonies. So when exactly did slavery start? And when were we a nation?
Right. The slavery that flourished in the United States constituted an immoral and inhumane deprivation of Africans' lives, liberty, African citizenship rights, cultural heritage, and denied them the fruits of their own labor. A preponderance of scholarly, legal, community evidentiary documentation, and pop culture markers constitute the basis for the inquiry into the ongoing effects and institutions of slavery and its legacy of persistent systemic structures of discrimination on living African Americans and society in the United States. What the fuck is all this goddamn fucking word salad? Do y'all pay these motherfuckers by the letter? That I just want to know. Are y'all paying these people by the letter? Following the abolition of slavery, the United States government at the federal, state, and local level continued to perpetuate, condone, and often profit from practices that continue to brutalize and disadvantage African Americans, including sharecropping, convict leasing, Jim Crow. Whoa. Let's back up. So Jim Crow happened when, too, Raw?
Well, according to my knowledge and my recollections, I'd say between around 1890s to about 1960ish.
So, okay, so if that's the case, why do we got a bill, this so-called HR 40 bill that ain't worth the toilet paper to wipe your ass with, going from 1619 to 1865? But Jim Crow, you talked about Jim Crow here later on the fucking paragraph.
Yeah, something is amiss here. I suspect that they're using that earlier time period to make it harder for black people. If in effect this was to pass, make it harder to trace your lineage, go back that far.
Right.
You know, Jim Crow. Look, matter of fact, not even just Jim Crow. Redlining, unequal education, and disproportionate treatment at the hands of criminal justice. All this is post-slavery.
Right. As a result of the historic and discontinued discrimination. So you acknowledge that there's continued discrimination, these Jim Crow laws, right? These dog whistles that's baked into these damn bills, unequal education, that continues on to this day. But yet your bill goes from 1619 to 1865. Help me make that make sense. This bill doesn't make any fucking sense. More like a boot in the ass. Someone should kick Sheila Jackson by her dirty ass pussy. You know what? Boy, as as a result of the historic and continued discrimination, African Americans continue to suffer debilitating economic, educational, and health hardships, including but not limited to having nearly 1 million black people incarcerated, an unemployment rate more than twice the white unemployment rate, and an average of 1/16 of the wealth of white families, a disparity which has worsened, not improved over time. So if you acknowledge that, then why the fuck do you have a bill that goes from 1619 to 1865 when the actions still continue today? Sheila Jackson Lee.
And why does it be studied further? When you've already.
What you need to study. What's up, Courtney Washington? Salute to you, man. Y'all hit my Cash App and PayPal, man. You know what I'm saying? Y'all support that real. That's where it is right here, man. Support your brother, man. Show some love, right? So also support Two Raws as well, right? Now, let's continue on reading some more of this word salad. The purpose of this act is to establish a commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans as a result of the institution of slavery, both the transatlantic and the domestic trade which existed in 1565 and colonial Florida, and from 1619 to 1865 within the other colonies that became the United States, and which included the federal and state governments, was constitutionally and statutorily supported the institution of slavery. The de jure and de facto discrimination against free slaves and their descendants from the end of the Civil War to the present, including economic, political, educational, and social discrimination. The lingering negative effects of the institution of slavery and discrimination described in paragraphs 1 and 2 on the living African Americans and society in the United States. The manner of which textual and digital instructional resources and technologies are being used to deny the inhumanity of slavery and the crime against humanity of people of African descent in the United States. The role of Northern complicity in the Southern-based institution of slavery, the direct benefits to societal institutions, public and private, including higher education, corporations, religious, and associational, and thus recommend appropriate ways to educate the American public of Commission's findings, and thus recommend appropriate remedies in the consideration of the Commission's findings on the matters described in paragraphs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and submit to the Congress the results of such examination together with such recommendations. Look, this is a whole bunch of fucking word salad. Establishment of duties. The established commission to study and develop reparation proposals for African Americans. The commission shall perform these duties: identify, compile, and synthesize the relevant corpus of evidentiary documentation in the institution of slavery which existed within the United States and the colonies that became the United States from 1619 to 1864. The Commission's documentation and examination shall include, but not limited to, the facts related to the capture and procurement of Africans, the transport of Africans to the United States, and the colonies that became the United States for the purpose of enslavement, including their treatment during transport, right? Because I'm pretty sure if some of these Africans got out of line during transit, they either got whipped and chained or they got thrown over the side and became shark bait. The sale and acquisition of Africans as chattel property in interstate and interstate commerce, the treatment of African slaves in the colonies and the United States, including the deprivation of their freedom, exploitation of their labor, and the destruction of their culture, language, religion, and families, and the extensive denial of humanity, sexual abuse, and channelization of persons, because I'm pretty sure there were some white men that were raping black women and having babies by them, right?
Some?
Most.
Yes.
Yeah, most.
Yeah, most.
The role which federal and state governments of the United States support the institution of slavery and constitutional and statutory provisions, including to the extent to which such governments have prevented, opposed, or restricted efforts of formerly enslaved Africans and their descendants to repatriate to their homeland. So basically retreat. Right? They had to put big ass fucking words like repatriate. Repatriate? Really, motherfucker? the federal and state law that discriminate against formerly enslaved Africans and their descendants who were deemed U.S. citizens from 1868 to the present. The other forms of discrimination in the public and private sector against free African slaves and their descendants who were deemed U.S. citizens from 1868 to the present, including redlining, educational funding discrepancies, and predatory financial practices. So once again, you acknowledge the incidents and the atrocities of African Americans or Black people from 1868 to the present, but yet you got a bill that's going from 1619 to 1865. So I'm gonna ask y'all again, who the fuck drafted this bill? Who drafted this bill? They ass need to be fired. They ass don't need to be nowhere near drafting up shit. I wouldn't have them motherfuckers draft up a procedure to bake a freaking cake, let alone create a bill. Look at this bill, too, Raw. This bill is full of inconsistencies and man.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if some white liberal cooked this shit up, man. This don't, I mean, or somebody or her staff that's, like I said, Black but not really from here. I don't know, man.
The lingering effects of institutional slavery and the matters described in paragraphs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 and on every living African Americans and society in the United States, recommend appropriate ways to educate the American public on the Commission of findings. Why? We mean recommend appropriate ways to educate the American public. For all intents and purposes, you got the Republican, you got these right-wing nuts, right? Whether it be your Lauren Boebert, your Ted Cruz, your Marjorie Taylor Greens, and all these other jackasses. They're looking for ways to suppress the teachings of slavery in schools. And the Democrats are not doing anything about it. Right?
Yep.
In making such recommendations, the Commission shall address, amongst other, the following questions. How such recommendations comport with international standards. International standards with what? How such recommendations comport with international standards of remedy for wrongs and injuries caused by the state that include full reparations, special measures as understood by various relevant international protocols, laws, and findings. So we here in the United States, why do we need to know anything about what's going on in China or in Africa or some transatlantic cruise and shit? Why? The fuck?
I don't know.
How such recommendations comport with international standards and remedy for wrongs? I already talked about that. How the government of the United States will offer a formal apology on behalf of the people of the United States for the perpetration of gross human rights violations and crimes against humanity on African slaves and their descendants.
My bad, bro.
What the fuck? I mean, listen to this fucking bullshit. How federal laws and policies that continue to disproportionately negatively affect African Americans as a group and those perpetuate the lingering effects materially and psychosocial can be eliminated. What the fuck? Look, we see people, Black people get disproportionately affected, whether it be from an educational aspect, from an economical aspect, from a medical aspect, from an environmental aspect. I mean, what branch of the tree you want me to cut off so the other branches can grow? Right?
Civil rights aspect.
So from a civil rights aspect, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, in the famous words of Tony Braxton, let me count the ways.
It's basically
let me count the ways.
It's basically reminding me of some of the problems that we have in our community where we love to talk about and debate the issues, but we need action. This is basically what it's talking about. Let's study and talk about shit that we already know about. Let's just talk about shit we already know more. Like, we know this.
Right. How the injury? Did Kamala Harris write this bill? Did Kamala Harris write this fucking bill? How the injuries resulting from matters described in paragraphs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 can be reversed and provide appropriate policies, programs, projects, and recommendations for the person. Look, you guys told us, you Democrats, you demon rats, you told us if we voted for y'all, if we got y'all in position of power, that y'all would do something. Well, goddamn it, you guys have not fulfilled y'all campaign promise.
Yep, as we knew they wouldn't.
How, in consideration of the Commission's findings, any form of compensation to the descendants of enslaved is calculated? What form of compensation should be awarded to what instrumentalities, and who should be eligible for such compensation? How, in consideration of the Commission's findings, any other form of rehabilitation and restitution to African descendants is warranted, and what the form and scope of those measures should take? The Commission shall submit a written report of its findings and recommendations to Congress no later than the date, which is 1 year after the date of the first meeting of the Commission held pursuant to Section 4C. Once again, more word salad. Now we're going to get to the good shit, the membership and appointment.
I just saw something that just caught my eye.
Yep. You already know where I'm about to go with that too, Raw. You already know. Right? Let's get to the good shit. Too, bro, I'm gonna let you take this one. I think I've talked too much, right? The commission shall be composed of 13 members who should be appointed within 90 days after the date of the enactment of this act. The members should be appointed by the president. Go ahead and talk to us about Joey B. Sloppy Joe Biden.
Well, okay, let's see. 3 members shall be appointed by the president. Joe Biden has absolutely no interest whatsoever in this shit. Okay. So let's just think about this for a second. Joe Biden was on a conference call, verbally castigating, what was it, Black Lives Matter activists and a lot of the active,
Yeah, a lot of the leaders on that Zoom call.
Right, on that Zoom call. Joe Biden is a white supremacist. Okay, he's a white supremacist light. If that makes people feel better, he's a white supremacist light. But he shares a lot of sentiments of a lot of the old school white segregationists. Okay, this is a guy that looks down on black people. Okay, he's not going to be into this shit. Okay, this shit is never going to see light of day. And also, I want to say, in the event that a Republican takes over, you can just forget about this shit. This shit is not going to go anywhere. It's going to die. It's going to be in a graveyard somewhere in Congress. Then 3 members shall be appointed by the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Really? You think Nancy Pelosi going to act that fossil? Does anybody really think that she's going to do anything to stick her neck out for what will be kind of perceived as a progressive? A very progressive movement or process? No, she's not going to do anything involved in this. This isn't going anywhere. 1 member shall be appointed by the president pro tempore of the Senate. Now, who is the president pro tempore right now? I forgot. You know, LB?
It's Patrick Leahy.
Oh, that's right, Patrick Leahy, the one of the oldest farts in the Senate. Yeah. Other than appearing in Chris Nolan movies, he's not going to do anything. You know what I'm saying? Remember, he was in Batman Returns, but this bill is not going to go anywhere, man. The Democratic leadership that's in place right now are old guard. Corporate Democrats. This shit is not going any fucking where, man. What does that say right there? 6 members shall be selected from the major. Does that say civil?
Mm-hmm.
The major civil society and reparations organizations that have historically championed the cause of reparatory justice. Okay, 6 people that are going to carefully select to screw this process up and come to a conclusion that they find satisfactory. I expand a little bit so I can see it better. All members of the commission shall be persons who are especially qualified to serve on the commission by virtue of their education, training, activism, or experience, particularly in the field of African American studies and reparatory justice. Handpicked. So they're going to handpick the members of the commission. And whenever Congress puts a commission together, it usually already has a predetermined outcome.
Right. They already got a list of people they already want to pick. Like, what are the odds that Herschel Walker be one of these motherfuckers?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be this bipartisan bullshit. You know, it's not gonna be people who are for us. You know, or if it is, it's gonna be one. You know, and everybody else gonna be. You know, they're gonna specifically have it so that, first of all, I don't even think all the members are gonna be black.
Nope.
They're not gonna be all black. So that's a hay in it. But why would you have somebody who is not black on a reparations committee? It's just the process is stupid, man. Terms. The term of office for members shall be for life of the commission. A vacancy in the commission shall not affect the powers of the commission and shall be filled in the same manner in which the original appointment was made. First meeting, the president shall call the first meeting of the commission within 120 days after the date of the enactment of this act, or within 30 days after the date on which legislation is enacted making appropriations to carry out this act, whichever date is later. This is giving me a headache reading this shit, man. Quorum, 7 members of the commission shall constitute a quorum, but a lesser number may hold hearings. Chair and vice chair. The commission shall elect a chair and vice chair from among its members. The term of office of each shall be for the life of the commission. The commission that will do nothing to vote in our favor. I mean, I just made that part up. But.
Right. It's like, let's see what else.
Hey, I love what Courtney just said. The Democrats keep doing this shit. The Democrats are always trying to throw out the term bipartisan, and Republicans are the most partisan party you'll ever find.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And the Republicans only throw out bipartisan when they're not in power, when they want the Democrats to vote to have them included. Screw them. Where are we now?
Yeah, where we at? So we talked about the first meeting.
Yeah.
7 members of commission, a quorum. But
yeah, we said that. I think F is where we left off at.
Oh, compensation.
Yeah.
Except as provided in paragraph 2, each members of the commission shall receive compensation at the daily equivalent of the annual rate of basic pay payable to GS 18 of the general schedule under section 5332 of Title 5. United States Code for each day, including travel time for which he engaged for the actual performance of duties vested in the commission. A member of the commission who is a full-time officer or employee of the United States or a member of Congress has received no additional pay, allowances, or benefits by reason of his or her service to the commission. So these bought and paid for bootlicks and these fucking white people out here is going to go out here and they're going to be the ones. And I guarantee you, they could be the ones that could be selected to do this so-called study of reparations.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just disgusting. For real, just disgusting.
Yeah. And, and like I said, man, I wouldn't be surprised if at least half of the commission is white, or at least a couple of them. They're gonna be white. And it's probably going to end up, if this thing ever did come to light, which I don't think is going to come to light, but if this should ever come to light, they're probably going to come to some conclusion that the more effective way for reparations to reimburse African Americans will be to invest in schools and some shit that they think will appease their white base, the Democratic Party. If they ever did look into this, I don't see them ever giving black people actual reparations as far as money. I don't think they'll ever do that, because to them, they think it'll be political suicide. They think that if they do that, they're going to lose the white vote, and they're going to get voted out of office in a historic margin. It might happen. I don't know. But, that's why I say, why do we support these motherfuckers?
Right. It's like, we put you there to do a job, and if you ain't going to do the job, get the fuck on so we can get somebody else in there that do it for us.
Yep.
Kamala Harris knows that the vice presidency is her ceiling, okay? There ain't no way in hell that she's going to become president of the United States barring some miracle or Joe Biden dying, right?
Well, wait a minute. I'm not trying to get way ahead of you, but where it says Section 8 authorization of appropriations, to carry out the provisions of this act, they are authorized to be appropriated $12 million. Is that to fund the whole study? $12 million? That's it?
That's it.
I mean, I know that sounds like a lot to you guys, but that don't sound like a lot to me in this scenario.
That's nothing. That is nothing. You Democrats keep playing with fire. Them goddamn Democrats keep playing with fire, bro.
I'm telling you, man. I think their ass is grass in 2022.
They're gonna get smoked.
Yep, they're gonna get smoked like Snoop Dogg. Like Snoop Dogg on fucking goddamn.
On that movie with Wiz Khalifa.
Yeah. Some motherfuckers gonna get their ass spanked.
And they only got themselves to blame.
Huh?
They only got themselves to blame for that.
Yep.
Shit, all they gotta do is do what we say. But no, y'all want to go against the grain. Y'all think we stupid and shit. Jim Clyburn is up there with that microphone in his hand, looking dumb as fuck when he get confronted by the constituents that he represented. You think just because you can carry your ass down to South Carolina and then you go just put on some all-time epic bootleg cooning performance, the fool, and you got a lot of old dead black Negroes out there that go along with his get along, right?
You know what? I don't know how old that young man is. I don't know if he's old enough. Yeah, he might not be old enough, but somebody need to run against Clyburn for the primaries, man, in 2022.
Right. Somebody need to challenge him.
Yeah. Because I don't know if he's really been seriously challenged in a long time.
No, he hasn't. Yeah, I agree, Courtney. They should definitely keep Joe Manchin out the party. And that Sienna chick, she another one that was all up against getting rid of the filibuster or cinema.
Oh, Kathleen Cinema, that turncoat. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking bitch. But y'all see the word salad that's in these goddamn bills. That bill says nothing about what kind of money is going to get what kind of money is going to get paid out. That bill said that bill was filled with all kinds of inconsistencies from from the chronological standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I implore you guys to read these bills. Just take a moment out of your day and read some of these bills. These bills are not worth the paper it's written on. Now, how is it that Asians, you had a dude shoot up a sex parlor because he had a bad day, right? Killed like 9 Asians in the process, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he had a bad day because he couldn't get his rocks off, and he don't get charged with a hate crime. But a black woman gets into an argument with an Asian woman at a beauty salon, and that's a hate crime, right? Meanwhile, you got people telling us to stop Asian hate. You got white supremacists killing them, but they get an anti-hate crime bill. Not only did they get an anti-Asian crime bill, they also got reparations. They got a cut check to them, and they didn't even have to. They didn't have to do no marching. They ain't had to do shit. They just cut the check. But for us black folks, we can have stories about people getting hung, getting lynched. Cops is killing black folks left and right. They could be unarmed, getting shot back in the head as they're driving away. And yet, we got to have this bill that with the piece of paper it's written on, that's going to get voted down yet again when it goes, if it even goes to the floor. I have no faith in even this bullshit ass bill will even make it to the House floor.
Oh, yeah, I don't think so. I'm going to say something, too. Any white person that says some bullshit like, this is just divisive, Dr. King wouldn't have wanted this. Dr. King would have, wanted us to be together. I mean, that's what his dream speech was about. Tell their ass Dr. King was for reparations.
And a second, more importantly, you don't speak Dr. King's name, white devil.
Right. Don't throw up King and then don't even be accurate. First of all, King was for reparations. King was for economic redistribution. That's partially why they shot his ass at the end.
Mm-hmm. Speak on it now.
Yeah, but they don't let y'all see that part of Dr. King. They let you see the black and white film I Have a Dream King, but they'll let you see about the King they ain't like that was becoming more militant and was rethinking the whole nonviolent thing. It was becoming more in tune with the black militants, and they'll let you know that Stokely Carmichael, aka Kwame Ture, came up through King with SNCC because he replaced that cool ass John Lewis. That's why Bill Clinton was speaking against Stokely Carmichael like that, because he probably didn't like him, because Stokely Carmichael probably told him about his damn self. But yeah, fuck them. Cut the check, like Dr. King said. Tell my people what they need to hear. Cut the check.
Mm-hmm. Cut the goddamn check. So what's wrong? What's wrong with cutting the check? Your hand hurt? Your eye hurt? What's wrong with cutting the check?
Well, why should I have to help pay for someone? I didn't put anybody in slavery. Well, sorry. You know, I don't have a criminal record, but I don't like being treated like a criminal. But hey, that's just the fucked up part about being black in this country. Cry me a river, nigga. You know what I'm saying? I walk past fucking car doors and people lock their shit like I'm a fucking criminal or something. I don't even have a goddamn parking ticket on my record. But I get treated like a criminal. Why? Because of the color of my skin and how I look. Walk in my size 17 shoes, goddammit. What should I have to? Well, hey, cut that check.
Expeditiously. Y'all said HR 40 bill. This bill ain't worth. Like I said, this bill ain't worth the goddamn papers written on.
And didn't the young man say that this proposal was initially proposed by John Conyers?
Yeah.
Jesus. I think John Conyers was I think he was out of Michigan. I think he was out of Michigan. Jesus, John Conyers, I think he retired back in 2009 or something, or 7. He's deceased.
He died 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think he was 90.
Yeah, I think about 90 years old, yeah.
Yeah, about 90. But he was out of Michigan, I think, right? Or was he New York? Michigan. Okay,
No,
I thought
Michigan.
so. Yeah, Michigan. Yeah, he was in that same generation with him and, John Rangel and those guys. Charlie Rangel. And those guys. 35 fucking years this thing just been sitting around.
Yeah, but you let these bammers tell her, oh man, we doing all this work.
Yeah, work to screw over the average man, the average person. But it's funny how they got to do all this study and do all of this just to come up with a ballpark figure. I guess it's going to take another 30 years, I guess. But as soon as that economic troubles hit, remember how Congress quickly passed that $1.5 trillion to go to Wall Street?
Yeah.
They did that shit, boom. I mean, that was just quick, like shit. Like a Kobe Bryant pump fake. Damn.
Just like that. Just like that. They cut that check. Unapologetically and unrelenting, that shit was just boom. Just disgusting, man. Just disgusting. And they know what they're doing. These motherfuckers out here know exactly what the fuck they're doing. And look, we broke this thing down systematically about coons like Jim Clyburn, who's against reparations, and the bill that got adopted by Sheila Jackson Lee, right? This bill is a bunch of shit. Cut the check, stop playing games with us, and cut the check. Stop playing games with us and cut the goddamn check.
They're not gonna do it, It's just You know, they seem like they're just they're they're determined to fuck us over. You know, and I just wish that we collectively would all just wake up. You know what I'm saying? And you know, if black people just stood up and said, fuck this, either we get reparations or we're not voting in unison. And if we don't show up and vote, and if we didn't vote, they wouldn't win almost any elections.
Nope.
We're so powerful, but we don't use our power. We don't exercise it in a smart manner politically.
Nope. And then when we get dicks in our hand, then we sitting up there wondering why.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end the stream on that note. Covered this enough. And then we're gonna get up out of here. You know what I'm saying? Go subscribe to Too Raw for TV, Too Raw for Sports, Too Raw Classics, Politically Incorrect. Those are. Do you have any more YouTube channels, bro?
No, that's it. That's it. And I also have a Patreon, of, you know, Too Raw for TV. If they were interested in that as well. But those are my YouTube channels. Yeah.
Yeah. So go subscribe to the Hobie's channel. You know what I'm saying? He put out great content. And with that, we're gonna catch y'all in another video, man. Smash that like, hit the subscribe. Shout out to the LDBC. This your boy. Scream at me.